Ali, over to you.
Thank you very much, and I'm very happy and glad to be with all of you today. We've heard the big picture from Claudia about what was going on with regards to the transformation of the CG and the very strong vote of confidence that have been coming from a variety of donors to support the transformation process and, of course, to support the implementation of the One CGIAR strategy 2030. We've also heard from Beth about the fact that it is possible if you're able to mobilize the right level of funding, to mobilize technologies, put technologies into farmers' hands, like has been explained by Martin, then you're able to see quick results. So what I'm going to try to do very quickly is to give a sense to our participants about one of 32 examples that are currently constituting the future portfolio of the 1CG, that covers a variety of areas of research that brings the entire skills and capacity from across the CG. So the example that I would like to talk about today is the one with regards to the CWANA initiative, the part of the world which I have the honor and the pledge, the honor to actually lead the actual implementation of these programs in this part of the world. So why CWANA? CWANA is a part of the world, as you could see on the screen, that is most hit by the impact of climate change. It has very important characteristics because it basically accounts for 1/3 of the agricultural land globally. It carries about 1/3 of the population in the world, and it has almost half the number of livestock in that part of the world. But it's also one of the most water scarce parts of the world that suffers from significant challenges around increased population, conflict, migration, and a number of other challenges. And the combination of all of these elements actually constitute what we call the perfect storm. We're also seeing increased expansion of the desertification. We're seeing those deserts coming southwards. We're seeing northwards and also eastwards, which really complicates the situation much further. And like I've mentioned, all of these elements combined constitute a perfect storm that we're trying to see how within the research portfolio, the future research portfolio of the CG, we could make our contribution by leveraging the scientific capacity from across the system to deal with those areas. Our approach here is to try and put the transformation of the land, food, and water systems at the heart of the research programs of the CG. And that will require a very different model, both in terms of the conduct of the research we do, but also in the implementation of these programs. If we continue to grow food the same way and consume the food in the unsustainable forms that are currently going on, we will not be able to deal with the future challenges. And that is a very significant threat globally. To be able to transform the food systems, we want to be able to leverage the digital technology. We want to put the research outcomes, 50 years of research outcomes from the CG, and then be able to embrace new approaches and leverage technology in ways that we have not done before. And like I've mentioned here, the aim is to try and reduce the inputs, the water, the chemicals, the energy, but also in a manner that would enhance the nutritional content of the food that we produce, and possibly also look at ways to also change the way we consume food ourselves. MENA is not only full of challenges, it's also full of opportunities. There is a vast and keen and qualified workforce. There are important jobs in the agriculture sector for women and the youth, and a very strong and big market. And there is a scope for scaling up and embracing the climate smart innovations in partnership with a very strong set of NARS partners within this part of the world. So in trying to achieve our objective, we're going to be addressing these challenges at different levels, looking at crop diversity, farm diversity. We're looking at ways where we could improve the nutrition to try and also improve the human immune system to be able to deal with challenges such as the recent COVID. Now, when it comes to the CWANA initiative itself, it basically embraces the 4 key areas that Claudia mentioned earlier on. There is going to be focus on the biodiversity conservation, the genetic innovations, and inclusive seed systems, a very fundamental area that needs significant investments, especially in Africa, like has been highlighted by the African Development Bank. The sustainable and resilient farming systems and intensification to increase agricultural value chains and profitability. The third area is sustainable water and landscape management and energy systems. And the fourth area is scaling digital innovations to build climate resilient agriculture value chains. And of course, embracing all of this is a strong element of monitoring and evaluation and learning so that we are able to evolve and adjust as we progress. Initially, this is going to cover 5 countries that are representative of the CWANA initiative, but it is designed in such a way that you're able to bring in more countries as we continue to scale up. 2 very quick examples is the whole concept of desert farming, the interaction between the crops, the trees, the livestock, and the land, and bringing the new forms of renewable energy, and doing this in a multi-sectoral, multi-thematic areas of research that would maximize the opportunities for food production for people who are actually living in those areas. Second example is how do we leverage digital dynamism for inclusive agro-ecosystems. The whole issue about the land reform, how you do leverage remote sensing to be able to inform policy within the landform resource space. How do you leverage geotagging for better management of the agriculture systems? How do you help farmers through the extension on the day-to-day basis by leveraging mobile technologies? How do you put all of these elements together so that you're able to manage your systems in real-time basis using the satellite systems and offer better and more reliable and real-time advisory services? So in short, this is going to be a very exciting portfolio that brings research capacity from across the entire CGIAR systems to work together in ways that we have never done before. And the idea is to bring in the maximum benefits in the most accelerated way to be able to help the region and many other parts of the world to deal with the climate crisis and be prepared for the future tomorrow. Thank you for the opportunity to share some of these thoughts.